Anybody here from Jersey? Is this mic working?
Time for a mic check.
Oh.
Okay.
Micmacs? I got a whole room full of them. They collect dust. Sorry.
Okay, ready anytime you are.
Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Rick Hunt and I am Carolyn's husband, Carolyn Black Hunt, and it is a great honor for me to be here to read one of her incredible stories. And this particular one actually is, it came to her in a dream. She's had 2 stories that have come to her fully completed, and they read as traditional native stories. It's just amazing. And so I will read this in honor of my beloved wife Carolyn, and this is called Dog Story. In the long ago times when Creator first made the world, there were no human beings. They were made afterwards by Gluskomba, he who had made himself. The great mystery had allowed him to do this thing, to create beings who looked like himself. However, the birds and fish and animals did not like these new ones who Gluskomba had made. While they indeed looked like Gluskomba, they did not have any of his magical abilities. When it grew cold and the land became white, they did not grow for fur or feathers to keep themselves warm. Instead, they killed the animals who grew thick fur and wore the skin. They also ate the flesh of the birds, fish, and animals to stay alive. They did not hunt with skill and strength. Instead, they shaped rocks and sticks and bones to make sharp points. They also made traps, catching those that came before without even being there. The animals were particularly upset about all this. They felt that they should have had a say in making these so-called people. But they had not been invited to speak. Soon there was grumbling that these new ones must be made to go away forever. The wind people brought these grumblings to Gluskomba's ears. So he called a meeting with all of the animals. What he met with was a lot of anger, some animals louder than others. He said, "I know and understand your feelings," Gluskomba spoke as he stood. "But what is done. While my little brothers and sisters are not perfect, they have good hearts and only want to live in peace and harmony with all who came before. Yes, they need the fur of your bodies and the meat from your bones to survive. Yes, they hunt you with tools instead of fang and claw like yourselves do, but they are respectful in asking for and taking that life. They waste nothing given, and they honor your sacrifices for their survival. But creation itself gifted me the power to make the people. They are good in the eyes of the great, dear to me. I will not unmake them. We must be patient and understanding so that all can live in harmony." So saying, Gluskomba took his seat and passed the talking stick to the animals. Each one wanted to be heard, and all spoke, one after another. The sky grew dark and the stars came out, and yet more creatures wanted to speak and be heard. Gluskomba sat quietly and listened to them all. The stars faded away, and the sky lightened with the new day before all had finished speaking. Then Gluskomba once again had the talking stick. He stood looking around the large circle of all who had come to speak their thoughts and feelings. I thank each of you for sharing with me all of the words you have needed to say, he began slowly. They make my heart sad that you wish to be rid of the family I have made for myself. It hurts me that you wish their lives to be undone, and so I ask you this. Who among you has taken the time to meet my little brothers and sisters? Who among you have taken the time to watch them, to see how I have taught them to live? Who among you have taken the time to speak with them and hear the truth and goodness that is in their hearts? You complain that they eat your flesh and wear your skin, but do you not hunt or one another to also eat and stay alive? They move loudly and slow. I gave them no tearing claws, nor great speed, nor sharp teeth. Yes, they dig up the plant peoples to make themselves shelter and clothing. Yes, they use tools that you would have no use for, but I made them this way on purpose. My little brothers and sisters were not made to be your equals, nor to be more than any of you. I made them this way so that they do not overshadow any who were made by Creator. These people, my family, are the least of you in all things. They must fight harder than you to survive. And what if you, growled Cougar, are you going to submit yourself to these lesser creations? Dog was thoughtful for a long moment. Then he spoke. Gluskomba's words were true. Who among us has taken time to learn about these beings he made? He has been and always will remain our friend. His need for his own family was heavy in his heart. Creator saw this and allowed Gluskomba to make these whom he needed to be happy. Do we ourselves not cherish our own families? Do we not need our kind around us to be happy? Bah, hissed Cougar. They are weaklings. They are defenseless. Their young take too many years to grow and be independent. Why should we be forced to change our lives for these hairless baby birds? No thought was given about when they were made. Why should we submit? Are we all to become like rabbit and deer? Huh? To flee at the sound of every crackling leaf, every snapping stick, always smelling for the air, disgusting scent on the breeze? Well, not me, said Cougar. With that, Cougar turned and disappeared into the forest. Cougar also speaks true words, replied Wolf. Maybe so, said Dog, but should we ignore Gluskomba's words because of them? I believe that we at least owe these naked ones the same respect we give to our friend who made and loves them. Well, said Bear, I have no great love for these two-leggeds, but I wish them no harm either. I believe we all have some hard thinking to do before any decision about them is made. I will go and learn about these beings, said Dog. Yes, you go and do that, said the Wolf. Then meet with us again when Grandmother Moon doesn't come out at all. Tell us of your findings. You are the most thoughtful amongst us. Learn what you can. Once this information is shared with us, we can then make a decision. So saying, Wolf turned and trotted away. Bear looked at Dog and shrugged his shoulders. Then he too ambled away. The next morning, Dog arose early and headed towards the village of Gluskamba's family, the two-leggeds. He sat just out of sight behind some rocks and evergreens and watched these new beings begin their day. Dog sat quietly and watched them all through the day, not leaving until they had all gone into their stick and grass caves to sleep. Dog watched them like this for 2 more days. Upon the 4th morning, he positioned himself much closer to the village, sitting in plain sight. He was not noticed right away. One of their half-grown young spotted him and pointed in his direction. As the adults turned to look at Dog, their babbles of sound came to a halt. Their open words had now become whispers. None of them had ever been this close to Dog before. They grew anxious, some picking up their sticks that had the sharp rocks tied to the end. Dog did not move. Continuing to sit in plain sight as he watched them, he saw their nervousness turn into curiosity. As the two-leggeds began to relax, their odd babbling sounds returned. Dog, in turn, relaxed. He let his tail drop to the ground, lolling his tongue. This seemed to make one of the two-leggeds more bold. A male, wearing a woven breechclout and a necklace of deer ankles, approached him, carrying some of the meat he had been eating with him. Slowly, this man approached Dog. He spoke softly and held the meat in front of him as he came forward. Dog remained still. Soon the man was standing in front of him. He knelt down and extended his hand, fingers opening to offer Dog a strip of dried fish tentatively. Dog sniffed at the offering. He had shared fish with Bear several times, but had never seen it look like this. It was dried out and smoked of smoke. Careful to not touch the man's bare skin, Dog delicately lifted the meat and ate it. The smoky flavor flooded his mouth, and he found himself not only liking it, but wanting more. The man backed away, then stood. Dog watched him approach a stick frame, lift another piece of meat, and held it out towards him. Listen with an open mind before we make our decision. Even so, said Wolf, they will continue to hunt us for our fur and claws to wear. As Badger loves his family fiercely, it does not mean he loves everyone else that way. But Dog was persistent, and the next meeting was long. Some minds were swayed, but not many. Others vowed to kill these people should they ever cross paths with them. This made Dog's heart feel heavy. He had grown to enjoy the company of the two-leggeds and did not want to see them wantonly killed. Finally, in the wee hours, the meeting was ended. To Dog's dismay, few hearts were turned by his words. He sat for a long time thinking about what he could do to help the people. As he was finally heading home, he stumbled across a group of animals talking closely with one another. Cougar, Bear, and Wolf were among them. Dog hid himself and listened as Cougar argued for the elimination of the two-leggeds. Many who were there were agreeing with him. When he heard them planning to attack the village the very next night, his heart went cold. In the first light of day, Dog slipped away from the secret meeting, and Dog ran all that day, calling all of his relatives together. He told his family about how the people had treated himself and his mate and pups. He told them of the secret meeting he had stumbled upon. He and they spent the day discussing what could be done to help keep the people safe without having to force Gluskomba to pick a side and lose either way. As the shadows began to fill the valley, Dog and his extended family had reached a decision. In the coming darkness, Dog, his mate, and his family members encircled the human village, all facing out, sitting sentinel. In the wee hours, when even the night creatures sleep, Cougar came bounding out of the forest. Bear and Wolf were among the others who followed. Upon seeing them, Dog stood and placed himself in their way. "Oh, look!" Listen with an open mind before we make our decision. "Even so," said Wolf, "they will continue to hunt us for our fur and claws to wear. As Badger loves his family fiercely, it does not mean he loves everyone else that way." But Dog was persistent, and the next meeting was long. Some minds were swayed, but not many. Others vowed to kill these people should they ever cross paths with them. This made Dog's heart feel heavy. He had grown to enjoy the company of the two-leggeds and did not want to see them wantonly killed. Finally, in the wee hours, the meeting was ended. To Dog's dismay, few hearts were turned by his words. He sat for a long time thinking about what he could do to help the people. As he was finally heading home, he stumbled across a group of animals talking closely with one another. Cougar, Bear, and Wolf were among them. Dog hid himself and listened as Cougar argued for the elimination of the two-leggeds. Many who were there were agreeing with him. When he heard them planning to attack the village the very next night, his heart went cold. In the first light of day, Dog slipped away from the secret meeting, and Dog ran all that day, calling all of his relatives together. He told his family about how the people had treated himself and his mate and pups. He told them of the secret meeting he had stumbled upon. He and they spent the day discussing what could be done to help keep the people safe without having to force Gluskomba to pick a side and lose either way. As the shadows began to fill the valley, Dog and his extended family had reached a decision. In the coming darkness, Dog, his mate, and his family members encircled the human village, all facing out, sitting sentinel. In the wee hours, when even the night creatures sleep, Cougar came bounding out of the forest. Bear and Wolf were among the others who followed. Upon seeing them, Dog stood and placed himself in their way. "Oh, look! Oh, look!" shouted Cougar. "Dog has chosen the opposite side to fight on. You realize, Dog, that this now makes you the enemy." "There is no enemy here to fight except your hatred, Cougar," Dog answered. "Creator accepts the existence of these beings, accepts all of their flaws and shortcomings. Who are we to decide against Creator on who exists and who doesn't? Turn around and go home, Cougar. The only fight here is the one you are having with yourself." Cougar grunted from deep in his chest. "If you want to die protecting these weaklings, so be it." There leapt forward onto Dog. Dog and Cougar mid-leap, not a sound coming from him. They fought fiercely until Dog had Cougar pinned to the ground. Cougar twisted himself like a snake and broke free. As Dog lunged for him, he turned and raced for the forest. Dog did not follow, but several of his brothers and sisters did. He could hear their barks as they chased Cougar through the forest. Then he heard Cougar give his bone-chilling scream, and all fell silent. As Dog stood looking at them, scratched and bleeding, the others began to turn and walk back the way they had come, not wanting to fight Dog and his relatives. Soon only Wolf and Bear were left. Well now, Bear began slowly, it looks like you have made a choice. As I had said before, I want no quarrel with these two-leggeds, nor do I wish a war with Dog and his family. If these naked ones leave us be, my people will leave them be. The same goes to you and your family, and mine as well. But let it be known that Bear and Dog are no longer friends. I understand and respect your words, was all Dog could say. He would miss sharing fish with his old friend. That left only Wolf behind. He and Dog looked at each other in silence for a long moment. At last, Wolf spoke. Unfortunately, Wolf spoke. Bear is right in choosing to live and protect these so-called people. You have forsaken your place amongst the wild things, while I have no interest in these beings. I know you to be wise and deliberate. You can do no less than respect your decision, if not agree with it. Know this, my old friend, no longer can we hunt together under the full moon. No longer can my children play with yours. You have taken a path away from wildness, a path of protector and servitude to these beings. This will always separate our people from this day forward. You speak a truth I already know, replied Dog sadly. The path my family and I have chosen comes with great changes for us all, but our decision is made. From this day forward, we are no longer wild creatures. Our path is now to walk beside the two-leggeds. We will protect them at all costs, even if it means our lives. He will be our sole companions in the world. They will be our first and last thought each day of our lives. We shall miss your companionship, Dog, said Wolf. Of all the animals, it is you we understood and liked the most. Wolf paused for a long moment. Perhaps, he said, on some quiet moonlit night, should our paths happen to cross, we can run the trail for a little while, like we always used to do. I'd like that, said Dog as he watched Wolf disappear into the night shadows.